Hello and welcome to Menu Heroes Digest. I'm your host, Steven.
I'm Jordan, the co-host, and I think blasters are an uncivilized weapon.
Oh, well, hello there.
Did you get that one?
I did get that one. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Just came out.
Good, because yes, and yep. Finally, enough. Um, I haven't found time to watch the 2 episodes that just came out. A lot of personal issues have happened, and still happening because we got ourselves another Star Wars related thing with it just came out less than a day ago with Star Wars Jedi Survival, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. It's a trailer just released. It isn't too long, but gives us up to speed of where Cal Kestis, his journey is going, and still being hunted by those dang Empire and the Inquisitors and all that and whatnot. I'm really getting the people pumped and excited for this next game, aren't I?
And I
got a chance to see the trailer, and it's actually a teaser. And you, Steven, you haven't seen it yet, right?
I have not.
Well, do you want to watch it right now?
I was going to, but then I realized...
A little live reaction, maybe? Just give your thoughts and opinions on this next game, seeing if...
Tell you what, I'll make that a separate little short. Well, as short as it can be. Mostly because I don't think the internet is going to cooperate with me watching a video right now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I think this one you could easily do like a YouTube short. Like an actual YouTube short, not like the ones where I try and do it and I'm still like over 2 minutes on every subject I think of, and we gotta make like a whole awkward video on that barely gets any views. So,
hey, don't knock it.
I think you're better at doing shorts than me. That's just
you just have a lot to say.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like I'm not knocking YouTube Shorts. I am ill-equipped for that. I think I'm just better off just making a video, a full-on video.
You're more of a long
The trouble
form.
is finishing a script. That's my issue. Yeah, that's
Don't worry, guys. 2 weeks and
it's hard to keep my thoughts down to less than a minute. Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about Activision. So
there, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Again.
Yeah, again. So on Monday, the quality assurance staff at Activision Blizzard's Raven Software Studio voted to unionize. This is great news because it makes them the first big studio in the U.S. to have a union.
Right on.
Now it's interesting. The vote was actually live streamed on Twitch. It represented 28 quality assurance or QA devs at the Wisconsin studio, and ended in a tally of 19 in favor and 3 against. 2 of these votes were challenged. I'm not sure what that means. They have formed the union under the label Game Workers Alliance, and it is legally recognized by the National Labor Relations Board and can proceed to negotiate its first contract with Activision Blizzard to secure better pay and other improved working conditions. This is fantastic because Blizzard is, obviously, it's got lots of controversy, and one of the big things is their lack of a work-life balance, to put it nicely.
See more on our previous episodes of Menu Heroes Digest.
Oh god, so many.
Yeah. It's like, I was thinking they should probably, like, okay, not be our sponsors, but like we should just have like Menu Heroes Digest brought to you by Activision, because it's like we talk about them in nearly every episode.
Well, thank you for the title idea.
Yeah, well, sure. Go ahead, take it. I don't really care.
All right, so. There's not a lot to talk there. We've covered a lot of it before, and the big news is that they unionized. So, let's talk about JRPGs. There is...
Yes, and that's a good thing, and, hopefully other companies do so as well. Like EA, or Ubisoft, or Nintendo, the list goes on and on about big companies that need to unionize. Their employees need unions badly. Yes. But okay, that's ready to move on.
Yeah, sorry, I literally did not mean to interrupt you. It just your little statement was catching up, and so I didn't hear it before. I heard it after.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, folks, again, sorry this episode's gonna be delayed, but we've been dealing with a lag from our internet connections, and like, again, we're pretty far away from each other, so like I'm hearing things, and then I gotta wait a few minutes later for at least a minute for him to say something, and then respond to that. It's it's been crazy. It's been yeah, and again,
it'll get better.
We're doing the best we can.
2 weeks, people. 2 weeks. All right. So, One Piece Odyssey is a role-playing game based off the hit anime One Piece.
Yep, 2 more weeks.
It is being produced by Katsuaki Suzuki, and it will feature a sandbox exploration component as well as classic turn-based battles. You will explore the mysterious Waffle Island, and let's see. Excuse me. Like I said, it will have a standard command battle system. And let's see.
That sounds so much like an Adventure. Like, obviously, One Piece came before Adventure Time, but it sounds so much like an Adventure Time place to go.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't know a lot about One Piece. I haven't watched it. I know that they haven't managed to find the One Piece, but it's also about pirates and a stretchy man. Supposed to release later this year on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series consoles. Funny story. I signed up a while back to get a PlayStation 5.
Yes, so I have a little bit of experience with One Piece, but more in terms of the manga. Man, this is real awkward. But yeah, so I am vaguely aware of many of the characters of One Piece and some of the worlds, and I've only played one One Piece game, and that was back when, is because many of you are aware of the 4Kids, the Fox like Saturday afternoon animation block they had for a while.
Yes.
So before it was Fox Kids, and I like that. That had plenty of good stuff, like Pokemon, like Digimon, X-Men the animated series. And yes, that live-action Ninja Turtles show that no one really likes. I think the one female character, I thought she was fine, but I'm rambling here. But yes, eventually Fox Kids turned into 4Kids, and they got the rights to a bunch of different anime, and they are infamous for having terrible, terrible dubs, especially for One Piece. And it's like, well, that one... You could tell that around that time, Pirates of the Caribbean was a big, huge hit, worldwide. And so I'm sure somebody at Fox was like, oh, let's grab anything pirate related and try and make money off of that. Oh, that's selling well, right? And they just grabbed the rights to One Piece, not knowing how violent and how mature the show can get. Well, even though in Japan is actually pretty tamed by other anime and show standards in Japan, but over here, especially a lot of Western countries, a lot of the stuff on that show, a lot of stuff in the manga does pretty dark for quote for kids stuff. But Fox already had the rights, or the people behind 4Kids, they already had the rights to One Piece, so they're like, we'll try and edit this as much as we can so that it can be even remotely shown on a Saturday afternoon, but when kids are mostly watching. And of course, every One Piece fan hated, the entire internet hated the 4Kids version of One Piece. And unfortunately, it took until shortly after the Alabaster arc with Crocodile, the guy with the sand powers and whatnot. After that is actually one of my favorite arcs of One Piece, but that has some of the worst editing, some of the worst writing. This is some of the worst voice acting I've heard, and I don't blame any of the voice actors at all, but it's just they were saying some of the cheesiest, corniest dialogue. Freaking Power Rangers had better dialogue than some of the lines they were saying in that arc. And it was only after that they thankfully lost the rights, or they gave up the rights entirely, and Funimation got a hold of it. And they're still very much behind, in terms of trying to dub all the stuff going on. And that's on the anime front right there. I've had more experience with the manga because I could tell the stuff that was being shown in Western countries like England and USA was bad, and it was just better to experience the manga, which was more violent, more cussing, and was not afraid to show women's breast lines. So that was a whole.
All right. That was a lot of information. Very interesting, mind you. But let's move on to Actually, we're still in Asia, so let's talk about the PlayStation Plus. Oh boy. You still there, bud?
A weird thing. But, yeah, kids, just I don't want to be those guys that says just read the manga, but you're better off just reading the manga. Straight up. But yeah, as for the game, as for the One Piece game, yeah, I think there is so much to the world, to the characters of One Piece that you.
Oh, this delay is killing me. Gonna hang up and redial. Oh, it did hang up. Fun. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Cool. You know, where were we again?
You were saying a lot of stuff about the manga and the game. I got the tail end of, the manga's more violent, and I thought you had finished, so I had started moving on to the PlayStation Store.
I know, and I made a dumb joke of being like, Steven, there are other places besides Asia that have PlayStations, and
Oh,
I don't know if you've heard that part.
I did not. But you're right. There are other places that have PlayStations.
All right, yes, that is correct.
However, this problem had specifically been affecting players in Asia. So I'm not racist, guys, okay? I'm not racist, but no.
You're gonna power right through it.
I'm gonna power right through it. So let's see. So players had found that if they had previously purchased a discounted version of PlayStation Plus, they would need to pay the difference to fully upgrade to the new, more expensive tiers. It was specifically in Asia, which was odd, but Sony actually gave us an update where they announced on Twitter that the upgrade pricing was an error. It has been fixed, and people who were affected by it will receive a credit. Which, isn't really good enough because, you can only spend the credit in PlayStation Store.
Just the one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just seemed to be a.
And they've announced new tiers as well.
Yes, they have announced new tiers. We'll wait for him to catch up.
I mean, I can hear you right now. Just.
Oh wait, you can hear me right now. You heard me say we'll wait for him to catch up.
Where else are we going? Yes, I could hear that. Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna have some like super insightful thing to say, like you usually do. No, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, people bought them at a discount, and then to upgrade, they were gonna have to pay the difference.
Yes, and I think I was just looking at the rest of the article, and it was just like, there was just also the announcement was like there's like new tiers of like $100 or $120 annually, and it will require existing PS Plus subscribers to upgrade these access, all that. That's all it was. And again, I kept waiting for you to mention that, or that'd be something that'd be brought up, but just again, it's just the thing we're not sure when it's like issues with our internet connection or just like the awkward pauses because we just not sure what else to talk about.
It's both of those. This story isn't like there's not much to talk about. There's new tiers, like you said, 100 and 120, and previous subscribers have to upgrade to them. And the problem with that was because they were going to have to pay the difference. They were going to have to pay essentially like a tax to upgrade, and people were not happy about that. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, and that's by all means, they got every right to be upset. Oh man. Okay, if I could say one insightful thing, it's like this reminds me of when I think it was like both Sony and Microsoft were cracking down on I don't know ROM hacks or pirating or like illegally downloading stuff, and they would just terminate people's accounts entirely. So somebody who did nothing wrong but was suspected of like illegally downloading something or hacking a game or whatever would just lose their account and lose like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of games that they bought using the online service. And again, they were digital copies of the games. They've just gone forever. Because I remember that being a big story that like every news outlet was talking about. I think it was 10 or 11 years ago right now.
Yeah, I remember that.
I wouldn't say this is that bad, but it's it just shows these companies, they still ain't treating their employees, still ain't treating their customers right.
To be fair,
it's a shame.
To be fair, in Sony's defense, in this case, they did say it was an error and that they resolved the error. I'm not really happy with how they resolved it. They should have given a refund and not just a credit. But it is what it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, again, at least Sony, at least it's again like at least when Sony, I'm trying to make a decent segue to this next story because man, I'm just terrible at segue. So anyway, EA, would you be surprised that they're not?
It's such a good segue, though.
All in on the money and aren't taking any stance on any issues. Actually, will tell devs not to take issues. Yeah, because it's just like You know, it's like I mean, granted, I'm sure Sony doesn't want any of their devs to really make any big stance on any political issues or topics, but like they haven't gone as far. They haven't yet to gone as far as EA of like they're telling their devs, do not say anything about anything political. Do not say anything about this, especially when it comes to abortion rights. You know, we're all this is a time of healing, and we need to encourage healing cycles or circles or whatever. And you know, because I said we've seen again, we just heard last week. You know, Bungie and others making very clear what they stand on Roe versus Wade and whether it should or should not be overturned, and have shown support for abortion rights and for transgender rights. And EA has decided not to do that at all. It's not really all that shocking. And they do so in the way of saying we're trying to be an inclusive company, and that means being inclusive to all points of view. And it's just what a real. And on pay, and again, I understand there's be people who are going to say, yes, that should be right. You're all about inclusivity and diversity. Why don't you be inclusive of our viewpoints and everything? But like, they don't really. EA does not really care about inclusivity and diversity. It's just a matter of what can we do to not piss anybody off and get as much money as possible. And yet they do keep making bad choices in terms of, you know, decisions that do make people mad anyway. So it's like the things they think aren't going to upset people still upset people anyway. So it feels like it's just kind of a losing battle, no matter what. But as I said, we've talked a lot about, you know, Roe versus Wade, about abortion rights, and other companies having their views on abortion rights. And right now we're on to EA's, which, according to one source familiar with EA's town hall yesterday, many employees called on the company to make public statements in defense of both abortion rights and trans rights. Chief People Officer Myla Singh responded, and again, I apologize if I didn't say the name right. I always need to put the disclaimer because me, dumb American, me not always great with how to probably say other people's names and everything. I am learning.
Hey, but, it's not just anyway, Americans who are bad.
Chief People Officer. It's just Westerners. Anyway. So anyway, the Chief People Officer responded that the company only speaks out when it will actually have positive impact, and it is a consistent perspective amongst all 13,000 employees around the world, based on a transcript of the meeting verified by Kotaku. The thing about the world today is there is a lot of division, and we know this right. We see it every single day, but the thing that unifies us is that we're all here to make amazing games and experiences for our players. And that is how we have the most positive impact on the world. Singh said, these things are hard and they're personal, and we all have our own perspectives, and sometimes we won't speak, and that will be upsetting. And I understand that. We really do. And again, this is just somebody at PR, somebody executive just trying their best not to upset somebody, but ends up upsetting anybody anyway. So, like,
hold on.
Might as well not have tried.
What's up? You want your Lunchable? Yeah. It's in the fridge. I'm in the middle of a podcast, bud. I'll get you when I'm done, okay? Sorry about that.
No problem. I'm kind of shocked. Nobody in my house has interrupted me yet, which is a blessing.
What? Okay, you want to grab them? Okay.
I was just saying, like, okay.
Sorry, Xander is. Xander, say hi to the audience.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Jordan says hi. All right, bud.
Stay cool.
Anyway, you were saying.
So yeah, I was just simply saying, yeah, it's just executive and like higher ups at EA trying their best not to upset anybody, trying to but end up upsetting people anyway. So usual business at EA.
Yeah.
And that we just covered stories about Microsoft and Bungie, going a little, at least like putting more effort into either taking a stand or helping out their employees, even though those are going to upset some people. But at the very least, they are trying to do some bit of good. EA's motives are just purely, we don't want to lose any money, and we're telling all our divisions, don't say anything, so that we don't have a PR nightmare. And ironically, that has also caused a PR nightmare.
Oh yes. It's classic EA. What do you expect? I mean, these are billion-dollar companies. I'm not expecting them to actually mean what they say, but there are people out there who actually believe what companies say is the truth, and so it's nice when the companies are at least pretending to speak good. And inclusiveness can be sort of a slippery slope, but there are some things that are just morally not okay. And the biggest thing is we cannot be inclusive of views that result in people getting killed.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, there is important to listen to other people's viewpoints and points of view, and to, but at the same time, if another person's viewpoint is directly harming another person or another group of people, then that's probably the one you don't want to listen to. It's probably the one you want to stay away from. I mean, I feel that's common sense, but apparently not according to like certain message board comment sections. So it says over here in the article, it also that Insomniac has donated $50,000 to Women's Reproductive Rights Associated Project.
Cool.
But they were trying to keep that silent. And honestly, I'd also be okay with that. I'd be okay with like companies just
Alright. Well, I am losing you again.
trying to do some good, but not making a big deal of it, Actually, we're So you didn't hear my awesome segue?
Oh wait,
You didn't hear my awesome segue?
It's just my headphones are messing up.
You didn't hear my awesome segue.
give me just a moment to go grab some a new headphone cord.
Okay. I wish I knew the rest of that song.
Shots from the girl, shots from the gun, Charlie's only one.
All right.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? Can nobody hear me? I've got a lot that's on my mind. I can just breathe. Can you hear it too?
All right. I think I can hear you now. All right. Sorry about that. That was weird. We'll figure it, and we'll see. Fingers crossed. All right.
Where was the last thing you heard? I'm curious.
Last thing I heard, something about a Segway.
Okay. So, I think what I was trying to say was, all right, let's move on from companies that may or may not affect people's lives to games about your life being affected by monsters and, just really, really bad. It was a really bad segue.
What a segue. Alright. I assume we're talking about V-Star or V-Rising?
Yeah, it's V Rising. I don't think they put a star in it.
I don't know why I said star.
Unless you were talking about Starry Night Sky.
No.
It's alright. It's okay. It's alright.
Didn't they make a Lego set for that recently?
For V Rising?
No, for Starry Sky.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
They made the Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh into a Lego set.
Okay, Vincent Van Gogh. Okay, I was like, I know for some reason my brain thought of Stardew Valley, and I thought, I mean, that'd be an interesting Lego set, but I don't know where you'd start or where you'd begin with making a Lego set with Stardew Valley. But yeah, the Starry Night by Vincent Van Gogh. Yeah, okay, yes, it's really well done.
Anyway, Ryzen.
Yes, vampires. Blah. Blah 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 blah.
Anyway, you take the helm.
Okay, so while I have not personally played this game, I have seen plenty of trailers and some gameplay footage of it, and it does look very appealing. You know, it has very much like. I mean, obviously, there's some hints of Castlevania to it, so that's kind of the reason why my brain immediately drew to it. But it has a bit of World of Warcraft, and even some like. I mean, I won't say Sims, but like, you know, in terms of like, you can actually build your own castle. You can lay out like the different the rooms and dungeons within your castle and everything. It is very much again a vampire survival, but it has with some RPG elements to it, and it's like it's already selling over 1 million copies. I think it was like last week or so that the game had 500,000 copies. It just got to 1 million already. It is blowing up, and from what I've seen, it looks really interesting. As I said, like, yeah, I have mentioned plenty of times my love for Castlevania and my curiosity for things vampiric or, you know, macabre, or gothic, and everything. And yet, surprisingly, I've never played a Legacy of Kain game, which I heard from people saying like I would love those games, but I may one day. But right now, this V Rising thing, this looks super interesting. I said, look at this article right here. It says that previously the game was online only, and it had a multiplayer elements, both versus and co-op. It's but it also has it has enough single player content to satiate those who may not have a good online service. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So the game, yeah. But and not just talk about you, Stephen. Sometimes my internet will cut off, as I have mentioned before. So it'd be great if I could do some single player offline content with this game as well. So I believe the game is available as of a couple days ago, available for Steam Cloud. So it's I said hopefully it'll be available for other things, because again, it mentioned, hey, there's some online stuff you can do with it, or single player stuff you can do with it. But I said it was released not too long ago. I can double check the release date of it. Yeah, it was just last week. So yeah, May 17th. So I'm sure this game's gonna get updates, and it's gonna get some extra stuff. And yeah, I was glad like vampire games are still doing good. That's my two cents anyway.
I'm surprised you're not wanting to play a vampire in my campaign.
I think the last campaign I was trying to make was a warlock, and while they're not the same thing, I did I think it's because of like, as much as I do like the vampire and macabre aesthetics, I think I want to start off my adventures with a lighthearted, fun tone at first, and then get darker. Whereas, you're doing vampires or you're doing monsters, you kind of have to start off with it being a little dark.
It is possible,
but I'm sure
become a vampire.
I'm sure down the line we'll do a campaign, and I'll make up a vampire character. It's, I'm sure it will happen. I had this idea for story for this one other thing, and
okay. Now, we'll talk more about it later. But as you were saying,
yeah, it's like I didn't know how much we want to talk about this, or are we going to do a video about our D&D campaign, or
maybe I've considered it, but since a lot of the players are new to it, I don't want to put pressure on them. But I am excited for it. I've been working hard at making it.
I'll make a deal, Stephen. When you decide we want to do a role-playing, like an RPG session, and have it be posted on the YouTube channel, my character will be a vampire.
Okay.
All right. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right.
Right. So, moving on. Because it is pretty great that they've added a LAN mode to this. Because, not everyone can play online. My internet would not let me do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't know how my stepdad is always playing, Ashen's Call online, but somehow he's doing it.
That could be the problem, though. Maybe your internet is being used primarily for his game.
Wow, him taking up all the resources? Terrible. Anyway, talking about a jerk.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft streamer allegedly harassed off of Twitch by ex-cop. So, Evan Baltira was a 29-year-old former airport cop, and he was arrested this week and charged in federal court with harassing a World of Warcraft streamer off of Twitch. In 2019, they met in person at BlizzCon. But when the streamer declined to be his Valentine and took away his mod privileges from her Twitch channel, he began a targeted harassment campaign against her boyfriend, and her family. In March 2022, law enforcement executed a search warrant at Baltira's residence and seized several items, including a thumb drive that contained many photoshopped nude images from the victims with the victim's face on them, and evidence on Baltira's iPhone of email accounts with which he used to send the victim harassing messages. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California wrote in a May 24th press release. So, after the streamer told him not to come visit her where she lived in Canada, he began asking for her physical address, asking around for it. She blocked him on social media because he went ballistic. Supposedly he created fake accounts posing as her, spreading those images that he photoshopped, and he sent those to her friends and family. And she quit streaming in February 2021 because of him. And even though she got a temporary restraining order, which he signed, he still harassed her. Blizzard banned him from World of Warcraft and Battle.net over his conduct, which, good on Blizzard for doing that. A bit ironic given Blizzard's history, but,
Yeah, I was about to say, everything, the fact that there's so much to the story that's disgusting. Okay. And though I did read this beforehand a couple days ago, it's still, looking back over this, it still makes me want to vomit. That I'm of the same species as this guy who just not only cannot get a hint that this person is perfectly fine without him and is living her best life, and that he was just dead set on ruining her life and constantly, just stalking her and harassing her and her family. My God, how did this? I mean, I know they said he was like airport security, but don't you need to at least get like through like some kind of psych evaluation for any security job? Like how does this guy even function if he just cannot just handle one person rejecting him?
He probably doesn't function. He's a creep, to put it.
And it's just like yeah, I know, and it's just it makes me wonder, like, is there nobody in his life to try and tell him to stop and move on, or worse, are there people encouraging him to do so? Like, it just makes me wonder, like how did they get this far? How does this keep happening?
Yeah, we keep asking that about a lot of things that keep happening.
I know. It's getting really hard to look at the news and all the things going on, and
yeah,
not
there's
just
been news articles I have purposely
be in total depression.
I've purposely avoided some of the news because I cannot deal with it right now. I don't want to be selfish, but I just can't. Some of it's just too depressing right now.
I'm unfortunately in a similar boat, and I feel terrible not at least keeping up with what's going on, but it's just like heavy stuff here too, and we try and at least balance it out with some bit of fun, some bit of fluff to like help the medicine go down, as one would say. But it ain't easy.
No, it's not.
That's it. At the very least, with this story, they at least caught the guy, and he's still under FBI investigation. And I really hope they lock him away and throw away the key.
Yeah, I think he's been charged with at least one count of stalking, which carries a 5-year penalty at a minimum. Or maybe it's maximum. I don't remember.
Well, also, like, she was in Canada, and I'm gonna assume this guy was like in Orange County, so that's like, so shouldn't that be some kind of like international incident or some kind of shouldn't some like international court be involved with this if a guy from another country is fucking someone else in another country?
That's probably why the FBI is involved.
Yeah. But screw it. Get Interpol, get UN, get whoever, you know. Make sure do what you can to stop this from happening again. Jeez.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about The Last of Us.
On a much more positive note.
Yes. Now I don't. Have you played this game before?
I have watched walkthroughs of this game, both the first one and the second one. And the why I said it was on more positive note, because it does get pretty depressing. Especially when what happens to some of the main characters. And but I won't go too much spoilers right here. But yeah, I was looking forward to news about the Last of Us TV show, because storylines in both games I think are really good.
I've only played the first one, but from what I remember, not only was the story good, but the game was fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was very emotional, which is always, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Always a positive if a game can make you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Not to get too much of a tangent, but I feel like horror video games, like, even if the story is not great, even if the acting's not, Oscar worthy, you can still be invested in the characters, into the scenario, because you're playing along with them, since you really are interacting with the environment, with the other characters, and having to like escape these dangerous situations. And I feel like, when you have, and not to knock down any other horror franchise, but Last of Us had really good writing, excellent acting, and obviously the plot was really good. So
Yes.
all that plus you're trying to escape from the zombies and everything, and that was extra magnifique.
Yes. Anyway, let's talk about the TV show.
Yep. Yep. Coming to HBO Max, I believe.
Nice.
Wait, did you want me to talk about it, or you talk about it?
Oh, you should talk about it.
Okay, I was really waiting. Of like, is it an awkward pause? Is it an internet issue, or is he waiting for me to talk? Okay. So,
Just an awkward pause.
So yeah, more than likely, the Last of Us series on HBO Max will be released in 2020, early 2023. That said, the director, again, I apologize for this. Kantemir Balagov is helming the pilot episode, and indicated that the series will actually be and it'll be on HBO Max, and that should be early 2023. And the director stated that he only confirms those estimates. It's hard to know what might constitute as early. It seems likely that the premiere at some point between January or March of next year. And the things that many fans are more focused on is, hoping for a trailer. As I said, there's a lot you can do with The Last of Us show and everything, and certainly like the casting seems pretty interesting. Like, I know they got Pedro Pascal on board as the lead guy. Hold on, I know I have the IMDb thing up in a minute. Yeah, as Joel. Yeah, he's Pedro Pascal is playing Joel, and yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry, folks. Just and they had Bella Ramsey as Ellie. We got Nick Offerman as Bill. That could be really interesting.
Oh, that could.
And as I said, yeah. So anyway, casting I think is overall solid, and what's really going to be the trailer that's going to decide whether or not I'm going to be super excited, or just excited, or concerned, because there's certainly been things that have sounded pretty cool on paper. There have been announcements, and then the trailers come out and they don't look as great. But I'll say this: HBO Max, I think, has been releasing some really great shows. Not even just the Peacemaker show that was released, but also there's this sort of a documentary series. Winning Time was based around like the LA Lakers and when Magic Johnson started beginning his basketball career in the late 70s, early 80s, and so. The show's really good, man. Oh man, it is actually pretty funny too. So I highly recommend that show. But so I have confidence in this Last of Us show. It's going to be on HBO Max.
Yeah, I'll give it a. I'll definitely make sure to watch the trailer when it comes out, because I do remember liking the game.
Yeah. I said, I do have a sense of like waiting on a trailer for things, but also obviously trailers are not the end all be all. There are plenty of times when a trailer, like say the first Sonic trailer came out, that I absolutely hated and thought was gonna suck. That the movie ended up changing my mind, and it was really good. So there's also that factor of like, hey, the first trailer may not always key you in on whether a thing's going to be good or not.
And then sometimes the trailers look better than the movie does. Morbius.
Oh god, yeah, like what was it, that Warcraft movie?
I forgot that existed.
From way back. Remember that trailer?
I never watched it, but I do remember the marketing.
Well, man, I was really excited for that one because it was like a prequel to the World of Warcraft games. It was like this is the first time humans and orcs meeting, their worlds are colliding, and they're about to go to war and everything. And again, I thought that'd be a cool premise to like get people interested in World of Warcraft. Because there's a lot of Warcraft lore that is out there, man. There's all kinds of weird dimensions and time travel stuff involved, and I can imagine it'd be very heavy to introduce any of that in the first movie. But I thought, okay, the first time you see orcs and humans fighting, that could be an interesting movie on its own. And it was not that good, man. It was pretty lackluster, I'll say.
It didn't have the luster.
So, crossing our fingers that Last of Us series is better than that.
Fingers crossed.
No, it did not. Ooh, it did not.
So, you guys may have heard this, but this week, Ray Liotta passed.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's a real shame.
Now, I never really...
Again, you need me to cover this story?
I haven't really seen anything with Ray Liotta in it, or at least knowingly. But a lot of people seem to like him, and I haven't seen anything, negative about him. And the reason we bring him up is because he was responsible for bringing Tommy Vercetti to life in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
I'll help you, man. Yes. I mean, it's you can again look at any of the Grand Theft Auto games, and you could feel inspiration from movies that Ray Liotta. That is a name you can't say fast. You got to say it slowly. And I apologize. Please, Mr. Liotta, I apologize. Do not smite me with your guns from heaven.
He's got his goons out for you.
Yes, Ray Liotta has been in plenty of movies. His heavenly goons come to get me. So anyway, yes, the guy has been in plenty of movies, and he is many of which have been inspirations for the Grand Theft Auto games. Mainly Goodfellas being the big one. Let's say, Copland, No Escape, Smoking Aces. That one, I'm sure there's a reference in Grand Theft Auto. No, actually, I think in Grand Theft Auto 5 there's a reference to that anyway. But also, he's been in a few. Again, he's been plenty of movies over the decades. Some have been really good, some not so good. I mean, it was in that Wild Hog. Yeah, he was that one biker guy in Wild Hogs.
Well, to be fair,
Man, I'm looking at the IMDb.
plenty of beloved actors and comedians starred in terrible movies. Robin Williams instantly comes.
Yes, and I do want to put that as well. Yes, and I do want to also put that in. I'm trying to talk about the good things Ray Liotta has been. Yeah, I think it was like obviously the B movie, you know. 'Cause I don't know. But no, but in all seriousness, like there is plenty of other things, like his part in John Q. I really like that movie. There's he was in. Oh yeah, he had he had a part in Operation Dumbo Drop. That I haven't seen that movie in years, man. I remember liking it. But apparently he was gonna have a scene, have a part in a movie called Cocaine Bear that's coming out next year. That is based on a true story, and I am very curious as to how that movie's gonna go, because you know, we do not here at Menu Heroes Digest, we don't wish the abuse of any animals, and especially involving drug-related stuff. But if you know anything about like the story of like how drug dealers used to hide bags of cocaine in animals, especially the bigger animals,
yeah,
you could probably tell where the story of Cocaine Bear is going. Did you hear that one?
Yes, I did hear that.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what that was, but
Are you talking about the door slam?
Yeah.
It's fine. Xander came in.
I know.
So, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking my grandma's about to come in and just start cussing me out for something.
Ugh. I don't like your grandma.
Oh man,
I'm
it's
sorry.
yeah. How do you think I feel?
Probably really conflicted because she's your grandma, but she seems kind of. Anyway, I can hear something in the background. I hear birds tweeting, and it's so great.
Well, I mean, you said you had like some kind of Minecraft thing going on in the background. Is that going well with the birds chirping?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, as we were saying,
my house has some paper thin walls, man. I swear. So back to the story. Yes. So anyway, speaking of Grand Theft Auto and speaking of Ray Liotta, people behind the I said like Tommy Vercetti from Vice City is based on Ray Liotta, and his model is very much like early Ray Liotta. So, I said we won't get into the cause of death or anything, but anyway, Rockstar Games have shared a nice tribute to Ray Liotta on Twitter, remembering the actor and his contribution to the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Many had hoped to see Liotta return to his role at some point, though Rockstar has distinctly drawn a line between 3D and HD games, seeing their part of different universes. Nonetheless, that didn't stop fans from theorizing that Vercetti was returning as the protagonist of Grand Theft Auto 5 after seeing the teaser trailer. The character they were basing these theories on turned out to be by Michael, who has that was the other guy, yeah. Because I do remember that though. I do remember theories of being like, is Grand Theft Auto 5 a sequel to Vice City, and this is the Vercetti all grown up, or well, he was grown, but like being a father and everything. But no, that didn't happen. But anyway, Rockstar Games confirming that they're working on the next Grand Theft Auto game, and some fans are theorizing that's going to take place in Vice City. Maybe, or it might have a little Easter egg to Vice City. I don't really know what's going on. I'm not sure if they're going to stop updating Grand Theft Auto 5 at this point, because it just keeps making them money. But okay, again. Just that's it. That little Twitter post on from the official Rockstar Games has shown a picture of basically like of like Ray Liotta in the semi-cartoonish, semi-realistic look that the Grand Theft Auto series has been known for. You see their box art, you know the style I'm talking about, and they did a version of that, but like Ray Liotta's likeness on their Twitter account. And it looks real good.
Yeah, it is a nice tribute. All right, we gotta go back to talking about companies that suck.
I'll say one thing though, is that CD Projekt Red they did not know exactly this was going on and are trying to shut this down. So I won't say they
suck in general, but this one might not be all them.
Yeah. So I'll say that they did not purposely did this. What the we're about to talk about now.
All right, so apparently there was a real-life Witcher school in Poland. Poland, our old friend. And it had its license pulled by CD Projekt Red. The co-founder claims that it's related to a former staff member's employment by the ultra-conservative organization Ordo Loris. I guess it's Ordo Iris? I don't know. Anyway, 5 Elements, which is its English name and I will be using, launched its Witcher School LARP, live-action roleplay, in 2015. And they conducted 40 events over 7 years with around 3,000 participants. And quick side note, I read 40 events as 40 experiments, and I was like really concerned.
Like this is some Umbrella Corps crap going on.
So, they
really are making Witchers in the underground basement of these schools.
Oh my god. Alright, so the company that the co-founders supposedly have ties to, or I guess it's not supposedly, they do have ties to, is a Catholic anti-abortion organization that has attempted to quash the rights of both women and the LGBTQ community. She provided legal expertise for this organization, including the legal mechanisms for introducing and enforcing the vaccine obligation and the possible consequences of failure to comply with it, and the draft of the law penalizing illegal abortion. The vaccine obligation thing doesn't seem too bad.
I mean, like that. Well, it's like depending. Is it based on the COVID vaccine or some other disease or something like that? Like I am generally curious about that part. I mean, it's just funny. Like it's one of those situations. Like if it is, then it's one of those situations where this person's terrible, but they're making a good point, and that's always like very conflicting.
And I mean, it's if they have legal abortion, then I could see why you'd want to penalize illegal abortion because it's dangerous. But I don't know if Poland has legal abortion. Like, I mean, it's obviously it's their body, their choice. But I do see the benefit in penalizing
yes.
Activities that can be considered life-threatening, like basically unauthorized or illegal abortions. But again, I'm only in support of that if there is options for legal abortions. I mean, obviously, I don't want someone to go behind the corner and do it the old-fashioned way with a hanger. I want them to do it safely.
Yeah, I'm thinking what's happening is that because this. well, since this organization has been straight up been trying to undermine or trying to strip away rights, or trying to like influence politicians to strip away rights of women, LGBTQ plus people. So I'm sure they're trying to make all abortions illegal and preventing anybody from performing illegal abortions. Where I think this is going.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. In fact, let me just look up the company and get some information. It's loading, so just give me a chance. Let's see. In 2016, they drafted an anti-abortion bill, which aimed to achieve full prohibition and introduce criminal liability for anyone who gets an abortion. It was rejected, so that's pretty great.
Yep.
And that's pretty much.
Like I said, it's just trying to just prevent again. That's where I was saying.
That was the only thing I could really find on them. Quick search.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, like I'm not entirely sure what all this school does. I mean, it's sort of like a LARP school, so like it's just teaching people like Also, like I'm just curious of like how exactly can CD Projekt Red, they have the rights to make the games based on the Witcher series, but they're not the ones who created Witcher. Those are books that were written by an author. And that author does not like the games. Yeah, so again, really? I'm very confused, like how any of this even happened in the first place, sir. I mean, they make a lot of money. The Witcher games make a lot of money, and they clearly have a huge fan base. So I'm guessing the author is, like mad, but also takes the money. But I'm still curious, like how did this company get the rights to make a LARP school? In order to do this, I would have. I don't know.
The Witcher author. Let's see. They have a licensing agreement, and I'm assuming that CD Projekt in turn licensed their license basically to this school, and that's how they were able to revoke it. There was something similar with Tetris back when it first came out, where someone had the license to Tetris, and they had the license to the home console versions, for example, and then they licensed it out. Except that was a whole controversy where he didn't actually own the license, and the contract he came up with was predatory. All that stuff. There's actually a great video on the history of Tetris by the gaming historian. I highly recommend you check it out. I love that channel. He is a fantastic source for gaming history.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. So, speaking of gaming history, let us move on to what could be the best gaming collection of all time.
Actually,
the Capcom Fighting Collection.
Actually, we're out of time. We don't have time to talk about that.
No, the timing was perfect. Of just like, I'm ready to move on to our last big story, but like, and we're out of time. Like that.
I'm just
that was
kidding.
Funny. I won't lie. I'll be a good sport.
That's why I said that. I was just kidding.
Okay. All right. Okay, this one I'll promise to make it quick, okay? Because I do need to run out and get some groceries for dinner. So, anyway, Capcom Fighting Collection, celebrating many lesser known fighting games that Capcom has released over the years, and some they have not released in the U.S. But anyway, as I said, I look at the trailer and look at like the games featured. All 5 Darkstalkers games available. That just already wets my mouth a lot. So I'm super pumped for this collection coming in at June 24th, and I've heard just nothing but positive responses from people who've gotten early access to the collection, and plenty of like old school fighting game fans are just happy this exists because, as I said, many of the games on here like Red Earth and a couple of the Darkstalkers games didn't even get a U.S. release. They only got like an arcade release and never got like a home cartridge or disc release. So, as I said, this again. Me and many other fighting game fans are really happy about this. But I should mention that recently, one of the producers of this fighting collection, Suhei Matsumoto, has done a Q&A with Game Informer about like his thoughts on the collection and his thoughts on fighting games, and more importantly, as the website has asked him about the possibility of the future of these franchises, because everybody's asking, like, there's going to be another Street Fighter game out, but when is it going to be another Darkstalkers game? Or we're going to do anything with Pocket Fighter? Or will Red Earth ever get a fighting game? Will we ever see dinosaurs and lion men with swords fight once more? And also Cyberbots. I didn't mean to rule out Cyberbots, but I keep forgetting that was a thing. Even though the robots in that looked pretty cool, but anyway, in the interview, they did ask him about what is the chances of more importantly of if this sells well, if this collection sells pretty well, does this increase the chances of these franchises being brought back or being revived? And Matsumoto answered, I generally want these titles to be played once again and on current-gen consoles. I also want people who may have seen them but never had a chance to play them get the opportunity to. That said, we don't think this will necessarily increase the possibility of these series being revived. And once that was said, plenty of other websites and articles are saying, like, it's over, it's done, Darkstalkers is never coming back, there's never going to be a Pocket Fighter again, and Red Earth and Cyberbots could be back in obscurity forevermore, and well, okay, certainly that's how I got that got my attention. That's certainly was the first. Those were the articles I saw first before I saw the official Q&A by Game Informer. But I do think that, but what is said later on in the article about how Game Informer asks how important it is these games get preserved and that these could gain new fans and everything. That's kind of the last big thing that Matsumoto said, was that his goal was to revitalize the communities of these games, that there can be new people to get into Darkstalkers and Cyberbots and Red Earth, so that people can know who they are, and that people can look at the Street Fighter games that had referenced these characters, and people can look at, that was what we're referencing. Oh, that's that Easter egg in the back of that Street Fighter stage or whatever. And I don't know. To me, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be optimistic, and because it's been well known that about 10 or so years ago, plenty of Capcom executives would do this thing called the Capcom test, where they would release collections of their older games, see how well they sold, and then the executives would be like, I guess people are interested in this franchise. Well, that's our chance to make a new one. And that mentality has not worked out for Capcom. No. Well, not always, I should say. Because as I said, like they tried re-releasing the Bionic Commando game, and even did do a new 2D platformer, a 3D 2.5D platformer, I should say, of Bionic Commando, and those sold pretty well. And then they tried the full-on AAA 3D Bionic Commando game, hot dog arm and all, and white guy dreads and all, and that did not sell well at all. In fact, that's one of their biggest bombs. But yeah, it's just, and also I do again, and also like. I think that's why like people were talking about like when this fighting game collection came out, we're saying like buy it, quickly buy it, like last time Capcom released a Darkstalkers collection, it didn't sell well, and that's why they didn't make another Darkstalkers game, and that is partially true. I've done more research on this, or I've asked people I've asked a guy who knew a guy at Capcom and everything about this, and they've said like actually it wasn't really like the Darkstalkers Resurrection collection that was the thing that stopped there being a new Darkstalkers game. It was the fact that like they made a Street Fighter versus Tekken game. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do.
That they hyped that game like crazy. I remember I was super pumped by it because I love Street Fighter, and I was slowly getting into Tekken. The only one I ever really played is Tekken Tag Tournaments. That game's awesome, but I haven't really played any of the other Tekken games. But still, I thought, hey, this could be a cool idea, or the idea of two different fighting game franchises like duking it out. That sounds awesome. It's perfect. Unfortunately, the game did not sell all that well, and oh yeah, that game also had the controversy of they had like on-disc DLCs, where the characters were already in the disc, and that even though you purchased the game, you still had to pay for the DLCs separately. Like that was a whole thing that's really pissed off both the Street Fighter fans and Tekken fans. It just pissed off the entire internet. Honestly, like everyone was upset by that, and we'll talk about that another day because that's a whole other thing. But with that game not selling well, or that game not selling enough to warrant the massive budget it had, that was why a lot of other fighting game sequels were canceled, and one of them was going to be Darkstalkers. So as I say this right now, it's like this is basic. So I see Mr. Matsumoto saying in this interview, he's not saying like, no, there's not going to be a Darkstalkers game coming up. I think he's saying like, whether this collection sells well or not, that's not going to be the defining thing that gets a Darkstalkers game greenlit or gets another fighting game greenlit. It's going to be our bread and butter, our number one fighting game franchise, Street Fighter, how well that does. And if that next Street Fighter game does well, then they'll decide if they can do their second favorites, their second best Street Fighting games, or their third favorites, or whatever, because that's what's going to determine them doing other fighting games. If they have the one they're expecting to sell the most does well. So, as I said, I felt like I had to add this segment at the last in this so that like hopefully to keep the 2 or 3 fighting game fans that watch this this channel, to give them some hope. Like, hey, if you're still looking forward to this collection, buy it. Hey, if you're curious about this game, buy it, because these are some good fighting games that deserve love and attention, and hopefully that will get more people to be interested and obsessed with Morrigan and Felicia like I am. There you go, folks. You were waiting for it. Y'all were waiting for me to say it.
And this will definitely be something we can play on the channel.
Oh yeah. It's not. Yeah, like even though it's like monsters, it's scary. Like the Darkstalkers games are not too tame. They're not Mortal Kombat, okay? Even though I think there are fans that want it to be Mortal Kombat. I wouldn't say no to it, but you don't need to. You can keep this thing PG-13. It's fine.
And I think that'll actually do it for the stories we've got today.
Yeah, we had a lot, and yeah. And I said, sorry for the long delays, sorry for all the awkward pauses. It's been a little crazy, not gonna lie.
And, as always, thank you for being patient with us, with our delays, both recording and releasing. And thank you for watching, we always appreciate it. And until next time, stay cool.
The Force will be with you, always.